What's going on, everybody? Hope y'all having a fantastic night. Welcome to the late night show with Dr. Kojo. We are checking in live from what was a sunny day in Los Angeles, California. I'm happy. I think this is my first solo live since coming back from the summer break. So I'm so excited to get into the topic today. I want to see where you all are checking in from. I got a stain on my shirt, so I apologize. But go ahead and introduce yourself to me in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Let's get to it. Let me know where you're from and all of that good stuff. I see Supaya from Supaya, what's up? How you doing? Hey. Lorraine, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Sarah, what's up? We got Shamiran, a really nice name from Redding, California. 15 years single. Dave, what's going on, Dave? Love the topic. Christina, I appreciate you. We got Anthony from Rooster, Massachusetts. I have a hard time pronouncing that name. Anthony, can you tell me how to pronounce that right there? So that way I don't embarrass myself next time I go to Massachusetts. Amy from Boston, what's going on? Kayla, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Y'all make me like low-key emotional sometimes. Thank you so much, Kayla. Christina from Memphis. Somebody from Georgia, Indiana in the house. Luke from Las Vegas. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Autumn, what's up? Katie from what's up, Katie? Laura, I know life has been hard, but let's work out these issues together. Chrissy from Oklahoma. Ashley from Canada. Jacob from Kentucky. Jessica says, my dude, what's going on? All right, guys, so let's talk about it. Relationship issues. Men and women need each other. And before I get into it, let me just say, when I say men and women need each other, as I typed the caption and as I hit send, I thought about, alternative relationships and the LGBTQ community. So, when I say men and women need each other, people we need each other, right? So hopefully what y'all learn from this live, we can use it for a type of relationship, right? Whether it's same-sex relationship, that is, at least in my community, that's fine over here. Whatever relationship you have, I think we need each other as people, and I've been posting a lot about gaslighting, what to look for, signs of a toxic relationship, how to, speak up for yourself, boundaries, and all those different things. And it's funny because I was looking through my Instagram comments and, somebody said something about my videos being low-key sexist or something like that. I'm not sure what they were trying to get at, but I do want to say that whenever you have an opinion about my video, anybody who has an opinion of my video, if you hate it, I still want you to let me know if you hate it, right? If you don't like a certain concept or if you think it's inaccurate, let me know. I will never silence anybody in my community. I want to hear exactly what you all are talking about and what you're thinking about, and I want y'all to know that when it comes to relationships, we do need each other, right? And just right now, like, it's, to be honest with you all, it's getting bad, like in terms of like the internet wars, who's the most toxic, men or women or blah, 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 blah. But I'm here to tell you that we need each other and we have to figure out how to work with each other if you're not dating somebody, right? But I want to say that. And Ria, if you have to go sleep, no worries. The live is going to be available after the fact, right? So if you have to go, no worries. But it'll be available after the fact. Brenda, I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy. This is your first time here. I hope you enjoy. B Crop on Twitch. How you doing? Amy from Pennsylvania. ADHD. Hey, Amy, I understand. ADHD runs in families. I come from an ADHD family as well. Audrey, hey, I'm happy to know that the videos are helpful. I appreciate you all, and yes, Alyssa, thank you for I don't want any of my content to be heteronormative, so that's why I say, like, when your partner, right? Because I don't want people to watch a video and think that, I don't want a girl to say, I have a girlfriend, and does this apply to me? Or I don't want a guy to be like, I have a boyfriend, does this apply to me, right? So I need reminders from time to time, and I, even besides being a professional, I want my content to be for every single person, right? And I'm looking here. Mackenzie says, I need to learn how to establish boundaries. OMG. So I'm happy that Mackenzie said this, because this is a lot about boundaries, right? This is not about this person was wrong or that person was wrong. This is about, I have to establish boundaries and I have to figure out how to stand up for myself, right? And like, no is a complete sentence, right? Somebody says, hey, you want to do this? You say no. But sometimes we need creative ways to say no. Like, hey, let's say you're talking to your partner. Hey, I really want to do this thing on Saturday, but I'm kind of burnt out. So can we postpone, right? That might be a nicer way of just saying no. just leaving it at no. Say, hey, like this is what I'm going through, because I think people forget, and even me too. Like I've had this issue many times before in past relationships where I forget that it's not you versus the person. Y'all are the same team, right? It's almost like, let's say you're playing like basketball, right? And LeBron James and Anthony Davis are like going against each other. No, you're in the same team. You're supposed to help out each other because we are on the same team, right? First time watching, I appreciate that. Deborah says it's okay. Oh, no, Deborah, it is okay to say that men and women need each other. I agree, but I also want people to know that people need people, right? And I have a large LGBTQ community, and I want more of that, right? Because it's also a learning opportunity for me. Chrissy, I appreciate you. Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of things, right? Anxiety is the most common mental condition, and it's good to talk about these things, right? And I like the fact that we're talking about mental health in relationships for the first time, right? Because when I say people need people, right, or men and women need each other, we've never approached this conversation, right? So let me tell you all what my role is in this conversation. My role in the relationship wars or whatever is going on online is not to come in and say, like I have 80%, 81% of my followers are women. I'm not gonna come in and say, yeah, like women need this and guys are messing up, or vice versa. I'm here to say we all need each other, and let's start talking about what's going on, right? A lot of times, maybe there's trauma from your childhood. Somebody sent me a request to talk about borderline personality disorder and childhood trauma. I thought that was an outstanding suggestion because I'm like, I have so many ideas about how to talk about that, right? But the things that happened to you as a kid, you take those things, with you, and as you become an adult, sometimes we don't know the tendencies that we have that are not, helpful to us until you enter a relationship, right? So when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's not a matter of if you're going to have issues. You're going to have issues. It's a matter of when. So when the issues come, do we throw the person away or do we work through them, right? I like working through it unless like it's not the person, right? But we have to work through issues. We have to learn how to be, like disagreeable without being we have to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable, right? And somebody says, I tell my kids all the time their feelings are valid. So let me go ahead and give Amy a love of the show, right? So if y'all are new to my show, I do something where I call it love of the show. If you say something that I like and I really agree with, I'm gonna clap my hands and give you a love of the show. So I gotta give Amy a love of the show. I think that when you get kids, right, in those formative years, and you start to tell them, hey, your feelings are valid, you can say no, you can speak up for yourself, those same kids become adults who learn how to communicate within their relationships, right? So this is something that I'm going to think about more, as I have kids like one day. But I think, first of all, parenting is hard, right? Parenting is super, super hard. So if you're a parent and you're trying to teach your kids this type of thing, don't stress yourself out, right? Like do the best that you can, right? And we take it one thing at a time, right? And grow, yeah, grow through hard times, not go through them. Yeah. Let me see. Also, when you make rules, boundaries, relationship, and one or both can't keep up with them, right? So Reynoso, perfect, right? Here's the thing. Let's say I am dating Reynoso, right? This make an example, right? And I tell Reynoso, hey, I like to go with the guys, and I like to go golfing every Thursday at 7 p.m. And like I've told her, hey, this is my time to like go with the guys. And then every week it's Thursday at 7 p.m. she says, hey, let's go watch a movie. I said, hey, like, let me go play with the guys. We'll come back home, right? If you told the person ahead of time, then that's a boundary that they're not respecting. So now you have to sit down and say, hey, you don't have to blow up, at the person, but say, hey, I really enjoy golfing, and this is my time to like go and be with the guys, and I like going to the movies as well. So after we do this, then I'll come back and then we can do that, right? And something as simple as that, literally, the reason why this is so important is because sometimes a simple conversation, sitting down and talking through something, you can save the relationship, right? And I get a lot of DMs from people who, I got one today, a guy who was saying something like, I appreciate your content. Thank you so much for talking about relationships, blah, blah, blah. He said, I wish I had found your content earlier so that way I could have worked through things with my ex, and I didn't know what to say to that comment. But then no, now I'm thinking, as I'm making videos, I have the responsibility of course, I can't control when you see these things, but my responsibility is to clearly outline these things so you can tell yourself, all right, cool. All right, next time I come across a situation where it's time to communicate. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to stand for myself, so that way I feel respected. Leslie, I appreciate you. Hey, I appreciate you as well. And even for me, like as I post these videos, like I realize things within myself. Like I'm like, oh, I'm anxious today. I'm gonna, take it easy, and knowing that allows you to be kinder to yourself, right? Sometimes, like I've had patients before in the past where they come in. I'm thinking of a patient. I forgot her name. Obviously, I wouldn't mention her name, but she came in and she was depressed. So I worked her up, gave her Zoloft. Went through the whole everything, but even before she could take the medication, she told me that she benefited because I just told her, I'm like, hey, just take it easy on yourself. You're doing a good job. Sometimes hearing that can go a long way, right? So, Leslie, I appreciate you. Mental health is very important. I have anxiety, depression, and diagnosed with ADHD. Appreciate your videos big time. Sunlight, fresh air. Much love in the Zane. I really appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you. Excuse me. Corey says, I have BPD and it ruins every relationship I have. No matter how hard I try, medications, therapy, etc., I still fail. All right, so Corey, I definitely want to get to talking more about borderline personality disorder as it relates to relationships. And I'm happy that you put this comment out here because, thank you for sharing first and foremost. But the notion that, like, people might say, hey, I have, and I get this a lot. People say, I have ADHD, I have BPD, so I'm just not going to date because it's not going to work for me. And I'll say to that, that's what you think so far. But the good news is that you just need one person, unless it's like a polyamorous situation. But and even then, you can still find people who fit what you want to do, right? And maybe BPD has made it hard for you to have relationships in the past. And obviously, I know the 9 symptoms of BPD. I know that it can make it hard for you to get along with people. But I have friends, I have former patients who have had borderline personality disorder and they've had long-term relationships, and no relationship is going to be like easy where like, there's no issues, but even with meds or therapy, it can still be difficult to have that relationship. But if I could do anything for you today, Corey, I just want you to have that 1% hope that, oh, it could work. Just to have that, like, I don't want you to close the door on relationships, like, unless you just don't want to do that. But if you desire one, I want you to have like a little bit of hope, just like a little bit, like that much, right? Sometimes that's all you need, right? And you can start to believe in yourself a little bit more. We can, get it a little bit, get it up there. Kindness, communication, and letting you know they're yes. So Leilani, did I miss something earlier? Because I don't know if this comment was part 2 of something. But I'll come back to this. Mike says, "What if she doesn't?" All right. Let me talk about this. First of all, love and show to Mike. I like this. All right, so let's say Mike is talking to your partner, right, or like your girlfriend, right? Let's say you tell this person, "Hey, I have a boundary, and this is X, Y, and Z," and they don't respect that. At that point, it's good to sit the person down and say, "Hey, I enjoy dating you. I want to be with you, but hey, like this is something that when you do this thing, it hurts me. It hurts me because and you have to complete that sentence, right? And your partner should want to. I mean, if they're with you and like they want to like see things through, they should be able to be like, you know what? They don't have to agree with you, but they can say, all right, I don't get what Mike is saying, but if there's something that he really it's important to him, then you can work towards a compromise. And if that person is saying, hey, I don't want to do this, right, then we get closer to like, is this a deal breaker? Is this something that you can deal with, right? Conversations are, Nate, these conversations are happening at all, right? So that's why I want to come into the conversation. It's not a matter of who's wrong or right? Because we're all on the same team. Like all of us here, all of us are on the same team, right? We all have different beliefs, vote for different people, all kinds of, but we're all on the same team. We really are on the same team. I'm 75, and through teaching, I've blamed us. Martha, I'm not sure how you meant that, but I'm hoping that you're learning not to blame yourself as much. This is what Leilani says. It takes so much work for any relationship to work, and even with the hard work. Yeah. So any relationship is going to take work, right? Even a relationship where you just love the person, it's going to take work, right? Because that's a relationship with a whole nother person that doesn't know what's going on in your head, right? We have to communicate. Ty says, why is it that if your relationship and the person is ghost? Toddy, I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're trying to say. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Grow. Yeah, Kay, you grow through hard times. And I'll tell you all this. If you have a problem with the person that you're dating, right? If if you tell yourself that when you have a problem with that person, you're gonna throw them away, I don't think you'll ever have a long-term relationship, right? Like we have to work through issues, right? Because it's not a matter of if you're gonna have problems, is when. So something that they do is gonna piss you off. Like I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that, right? And likewise, something that we do might piss off the other party, right? Yes, Katie, we are all on the same teams. And Angie, yes, no, right. No one is right or wrong. Like that's the whole point that I'm trying to make, right? And that's why I'm happy that these lives, like live forever. Like nobody is right or wrong, right? Now look at it from let me just be accountable for myself and let the other party be accountable for themselves, right? Because sometimes if I, take my hand, right, and I'm like, you're wrong, what are you going? You're going to go in the defensive, right? And we're not going to learn anything. Or if you point at me and say, I'm no, we're not going to learn, right? Appreciate you being a male. Desmond, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. A lot of love in the Philippines. Hey, this is so cool that like this is like like a worldwide thing. I really appreciate you. How do you get help if you can't trust easily? Well, so actually that might be a separate conversation, right? But I think trust is something that you should give people a little bit of trust, initially, but after that they should kind of earn more trust along the way. But if you want to be with somebody, you have to trust them in some capacity. Stormy, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yes, the mental health family are here. I'm so happy to be back on live. I really am. I'm so happy to be back. Like it was cool having the break during the summer, but like I love this live engagement. I appreciate you all a lot. All right. Let me get some of these questions. My girlfriend says she has BPD, and at times she has no emotions towards me, but shows emotions towards others. It upsets me, and I don't know how to react to that. What can I do in these situations? All right, so Marcus, I think the first thing for you to do, is to like have pattern recognition. Understand how your girlfriend is sometimes, but in this situation, I believe if you're dating somebody with borderline personality disorder, it's important to know what that condition is and how it affects them, right? And how it will affect your relationship, right? So what do we know about BPD, right? Let's walk through this one by one, right? So we know that with borderline personality disorder, the person can have a fear of abandonment, right? So I'm not trying to be the therapist for you all here, but I'm just saying if you know that this is what the personality disorder is characterized by, then how can you step in and have empathy for her, but also work to get the situation solved, right? So you can approach the situation and say, hey, I understand a little bit about what you're going through, but I'm also upset. And sometimes it's helpful to tell your partner, hey, I don't know how to react to this, but this is how I feel. I feel this way, right? And then hear from her. That would be the first step. Hear from her. Let her know that you're not angry at her, but the things that she's doing is kind of hurting you, right? So I would say that's where you should start. Anthony, how do I fix my trust issues? After 2 years of self love, I thought I was healed, but then after seeing the person I was dating who kept texting on our date, my trust issues came up. Also, this is knowing that she just wanted a situation shift. All right, okay, so Anthony, let's talk through this as well, right? So, trust issues, a lot of times with trust issues, it may come from things that have happened to us in the past, right? Maybe somebody did us wrong as when we were younger. And as we become adults, we're like, all right, like I can't trust people, right? So, you said after 2 years of self-love, here's the thing. I don't think people tell you, but it's like we can't just do 2 years of self-love. We have to do this every single day, right? Like when I went to therapy for the first time, my therapist made me do something that I thought was silly. She wanted me to wake up in the morning and do jumping jacks, right? And jump rope and tell myself I'm worthy, I'm loved, I'm worthy, I'm loved, I'm worthy, I'm loved. And as I was on the session with my therapist, I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not gonna do this. And I woke up the next day with the jump rope. I was like, I'm worthy, I'm loved. And I started to believe it. I'm like, okay, hold on, I'm worthy, I'm loved. Like I was, I kept doing it. And over time, like I started to really believe that about myself, right? But we have to keep practicing on that. And then about the trust issues, let's say you're on a date with her, and then I think at some point, I don't know if it's the first date or the second date, but either the first or the second date, you should kind of know your like where you want to go with it. Like if you just want like a situationship, like if you just want to kick it, that's fine. But the other person should just want to kick it. If you want like a full relationship, then you would want to be with somebody who wants to be headed towards a committed relationship, right? And the more intentional you are about that, the less pain I think you'd have on the back end. And if she's texting while you're on a date, like you might be thinking, oh, she's texting somebody else. Maybe she was texting her mom or texting her dog sitter or something like that, right? But because of the trust issues, maybe we've internalized it. So it's important to see how we feel about certain things, and then as you get to know somebody, like let them know, hey, like now maybe you don't want to tell everybody like your trauma and everything you've been through on the first date, but as you get to know them and they share a little bit about themselves and you do the same, you can be like, hey, like on the when we went out for the first time and you were texting somebody, I felt a way about it. Or if you don't like people texting while you're on a date, because like if I'm on a date, I wouldn't want that person to be texting, right? And like I know myself, I'm always on my phone for social media. I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking through comments, what do people want to see next? People want to see this video, or people want to learn about this, or people want to see this funny idea. Like I'm always looking at my phone. So I have to tell myself, Kojo, get off your phone when you're on a date. Right. So sometimes just bringing those things up can be helpful. Rebecca, I'm not sure what that is, honestly. Meg says, when you're first dating somebody, what a question. What a question, Meg. Oh my gosh. Y'all hit me with the good questions. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a good question. And I keep saying this is a good question because nothing comes to my head initially, but I would say you disclose this to them when you feel comfortable with it. For me, I'd probably do this maybe first or second date, fairly early, only for me because like I have gotten to the point where I'm not ashamed by my ADHD diagnosis. I was for a very long time. I wasn't gonna bring it up unless like somebody mentioned it, or if I was dating somebody and she said something about ADHD, it will kind of hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. But now I mentioned it earlier on. But it's about you. How comfortable do you feel about telling the person, and like how sensitive are you about that diagnosis, right? If it doesn't feel good to you, don't, right, Meg? You don't have to. Let's make sure it feels good to you before you let the person know. Chrissy says, "Is it weird to just not want to be in a relationship again? I just been burnt a lot, and the juice is so." Chrissy, there's nothing wrong with this. I want people to know that because dating takes a lot of effort, and the reason why I think it's stressful is because you can't control what the other person does, but you kind of need them to. It's kind of like a group project. You kind of need them to kind of like pull their weight. So if you're burnt out from dating, there's nothing wrong with just taking some time back and saying, "Hey, I don't want to be in a relationship." Like you don't have to be in a relationship, right? It should be about what you want, Christy. So if you feel respected and you feel worthy on your own, sure, then you just might be in a season of your life where you want to be by yourself, and maybe you want to be by yourself for an extended period of time or however long you want to be by yourself, right? But there's nothing wrong with going solo dolo, right? Nothing wrong with that. Let me see. I went through a bad breakup. I have ADHD. I felt like I did something wrong for my boyfriend to separate from me. At the end, I was trying to ask him to stay so we could work through the problem. He felt he wasted my time. Um, I felt like I poured out. So, Kesha, is it Kesha or Kesha? Kesha, thank you for sharing. And sometimes, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. And sometimes when you finish or whenever you end a situation ends and you really care about the other person, like it is good to just take some time and just breathe. And the main thing that I want you to know, let me pull it back up on the screen, is that if something went wrong, don't look at it as me, Kesha Holmes, I'm not good enough, right? It didn't work out, but it's not because of like who you are as a person, right? Maybe it was situational factors or like things happen here and there. But I don't want you to think that like it's you as a person, because it's not you as a person. So that should be the most important thing. Let me see. Do you have any advice for somebody with relationship issues while CPTSD? He gets insulted. So, Catherine, what I would say here is if you can sit down with your partner and ask them, like, hey, do you mind explaining why you get insulted by your reactions, right? And sometimes the way you say it or the way you phrase the question, if you can phrase it to where y'all are on the same team. Once again, going back to the title, men and women need each other. People need each other. You're on the same team. You're not trying to trick him or throw him a curveball. You just want to know why he feels that way. And if you can get to the point where he can express himself, and I think that as men, we're doing a better job collectively expressing our emotions, but I think men for the longest have been suppressed to where it's not they don't feel comfortable to express their emotions, right? And as human beings, we're responsible for ourselves, right? But we do have to create a better space where men can express themselves. Ayana, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. um oh, Maria, so I'm happy that you talked about this. How long is healthy grieving? In short, I don't know the answer, right? And I know that I want to say the APA came out with or I think the way we define grief in the DSM-5, it recently changed. And for me personally, I don't know the answer to this. Like I'm like I'm comfortable enough in myself to let you know I don't know the answer to this, right? But grief is not like a linear process, right? So you don't want to judge yourself. But and I for me personally, just my personal opinion, I think it can be harmful to try and like define healthy grieving. I think if you just let people grieve and go through the process, the denial, the anger, the hurt, the shame, the bargaining, I think that's how I would like to approach grief. Really good question, though. Really good question. How do you become better? So, is it? I don't know if it's Marcia or Marcia, but I wouldn't actually. Thank you for asking this question. I really thank you for asking this question. And I don't think there's some people might be bad, right? But maybe you just found somebody who wasn't good for you, right? I would probably say I wouldn't focus on trying to pick the right relationship. I would because dating is not I'm dating you because I like you, so I'm gonna date you with the intention of I'm gonna make you my wife or my partner. No, dating is kind of like an interview. You're interviewing the other person to see if y'all are compatible, right? So I don't think you have it. Nobody is good at picking people, right? I think the people who have like healthy relationships, they're just better at firing people, right? Like it's not a hiring issue, it's a firing issue, right? Like if somebody, and when I say fire, I don't mean like ghost a person. It's just more so saying, hey, this didn't work. So we can be friends. You can be over there and I can be there. I'll root for you. But I don't want to give you this type of energy because like we're not going anywhere, right? So if you become, I would put my energy towards learning how to speak up for yourself quicker and earlier. I think that would put you in a position to where you can find a relationship that you would be proud of. Angie says, I think people in general are afraid to be open. Angie, I agree. I agree, right? And why are we afraid to be open? We're afraid because the other person is going to judge us. We all want to feel accepted, right? Um, Kate, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Um, I appreciate you. Uh, you don't pick the bad guys; they pick you. It's not your fault. The bad ones seek out women they can manipulate. Yeah, just to make your screen process a little bit more thorough. So, April, I think we're saying similar things. You can make your screen process more thorough by learning how to implement boundaries. Right. That's why I believe the gaslighting videos that I make and the boundaries videos that I make are important. Right. And I got a video coming out this week about how to talk to your partner and how not to talk to your partner. That's going to be a very important video that's coming out this week for you all on Reels. But I do want you all to pay attention to that, right? And I hate saying that people are bad, right? I hate saying that the bad guys, the bad women, but somebody can be bad for you. Or sometimes people can just be manipulators, right? I think we have to be honest and say sometimes people just want to manipulate you for whatever reason, right? But if you have your boundaries up, not about up, but if you have your boundaries down, right, and you know how to speak up for yourself, the moment somebody does something that makes you feel like you're not respected, you can be like, oh, hey, like you're cool, or whatever, but like this doesn't kind of like it doesn't work out for me, right? How do you get a man to seek mental health checks for diagnosis? There are a lot of people. So Nate, it's really really difficult because I think I don't know why the state of male mental health is so bad. Well, I mean, I know why, but like I'm trying to figure it out myself. You know, I look at myself, I look at my friends, I look at past male patients. I think we just have to create a safe space for men to express themselves, right? And the suicide rate for men is way higher than it is for women, and a lot of men are living in pain and struggling in silence. And I'm doing my best, you know, to because I have a large platform, so like I believe it's also my responsibility to highlight some of these issues, right? So I'm doing that with some of these gaslighting videos, and I'm showing it from both perspectives, right? So that way, I don't want to paint the guy as toxic or the girl as toxic, because at the end of the day, we are on the same team. Oh, Mickey Ficky, my time. I'm late to everything. I'm late to a meeting, but let's go on for like a little bit longer. I'm sorry. Yeah, so glad. Yeah, Rachel is look. All of us are have like I have these same issues, right? Like as I talk about boundaries and all this stuff, I go back and I take a shower and I think to myself, all right, how can I speak up for myself more? Like I have to keep working on it too, or else I'm gonna like regress, right? Typing. All right, Amanda, the video is coming out soon about how to how to speak to your partner and how not to speak to your partner. Very, very, very important. Let me see. How do you, Portia? I appreciate you, Miss Upshaw. Amber, I appreciate y'all as well. You know, and as we talk about these scenarios, I need you all to promise me. You know, this is very important. As we talk about, because this is a when we talk about, like, I finally figured out why relationships can be a sensitive topic for a lot of people, right? Because you're looking at these videos and you're comparing it to situations that you've been in the past, right? Relationships breaking up or even divorce, right? Divorce by itself, divorce is a major life event, you know, and divorce is something that can really mess with your mental health, right? So, you know, I'm starting to understand why these topics are sensitive for people, but I think we have to talk about it, right? But like I was saying earlier, I want you all to promise me in the comment section, because this is a safe space for everybody. Don't fight with. Let's not get into like fighting or whatever. But promise me that you'll tell me exactly how you all feel in each video, right? Like even if you hate the video, like I want to hear from you all. I don't want to shut anybody down. Like everybody's voice here matters. How do you handle a significant other projecting their mental illness to you when they ask what's wrong and explain the problems when they get upset? Oof, Kyle, this is a good question right here. Great question. So, Kyle, let's say you're talking to your partner and your partner has bipolar disorder, right? Let's make this realistic, right? And they're projecting because of their mental health condition, right? And you ask them what's wrong, and then they get upset, right? At some point, Kyle, knowing your partner, right? Like when we like know the people that we're dating, we know how to talk to them, right? Or you would think that, right? So if you know your partner and you know that they, on Wednesday mornings when y'all go out to go get ice cream, they're in a good mood. You're like, all right, okay, cool. So let's go get ice cream next week Wednesday, and let's sit down and let's just have a talk. And then you can say, hey, like I love you, I want to be with you, but I have an issue that I want to bring up because it's been hurting me. And if I don't talk about it, I don't feel like I'm being heard and or respected. And then you'll say, hey, this is the issue that is bothering me, but I love you. I would be with you. So like, I'm here for you. How can we work through this? Right. And if you start your statement with that, then your partner on the other end, they're not going to go on the defensive and be like, oh, because if you don't preface your statement with that, I mean, you don't have to, but that's my suggestion. If you preface your statement with that, then your partner is like, oh, okay, wow, like we're on the same side. Like we're like he's not bringing this up to break up with me or to to be upset with me, but like we're on the same team here, and we're just gonna work on a couple of things, and we'll be all right. Molly, my husband of 14 years had a year-long affair and left. Very sorry to hear that, Molly. Very with when it comes to just a quick side note, my ADHD brain just wants to go off topic, but I'm gonna bring it back in. When you talk about affairs, whether it's emotional or physical, that type of trauma can really hurt you for a long time. So I want to say sorry that you went through that, and whatever you have to do to prepare yourself for you, like I support that, as long as you're not like hurting yourself or But my husband, 14 years, had a year-long affair left. Then how long would you suggest someone takes to heal before another relationship? This is a great question, and maybe another mental health professional would have like an answer. But for me, I don't have a time frame, right? I would say take as long as you need. Uh, when you're able to implement boundaries, confidently, that would be the time that you can start looking into another relationship, right? Some people leave a long relationship and they find like the love of their life like 2 months later, a month later, right? So for me to say, Molly, I want you to wait 6 months before you date again, I can't say that, right? Now I do know that things do take time, right? And especially with like a long, marriage over a decade, like it would be helpful to take some time for yourself, right? But I would focus more so on like what can Molly do for Molly? Like how can you put yourself in the best possible position to advocate for you? Like it's about you right now, right? Now it's time to figure out what do I like, what don't I like, what things when said to me don't make me feel good, what things when said to me make me feel good, right? Put the focus on you, and as you get stronger and as you learn how to stand up for yourself, more, as you start to date, you come across different, men or different people that you're interested in. And as you screen them out, you're like, oh, it won't work for me. Like the next guy or that you like go on a date with, he might not be a bad person, right? Like I don't think we should start saying so and so is bad or good, but he might not be good for you because of something that you went through in the past, right? So as you learn how to stand for yourself better, we can make progress. Ashley, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And for all of the subscribers, I will be going. I don't know if I posted the graphic, but I'll be going live. For my subscribers at least once a week. And when I'm going live, I'm just going live to say what's up and just kind of figure out what you all want to see. Like what videos y'all want, like what is gonna be like helpful for you. Or what funny video you want. But I want things that are gonna be helpful for you. Laisha, I appreciate you. Yes. So shout out to Laisha. Let me give Laisha a love of the show. I just like the fact that you take notes. I think it's so cool. I appreciate you. Maria, I'm happy you learned as well. And nobody here is a stranger. Like this is like an online family. And it's good to explain these things because when people are new to, like, if you see one of my videos, you might not get what I'm trying to do comprehensively. But one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to silence anybody here. Like I want to hear people's actual thoughts and opinions. Like whether it's wrong, or right, I don't know. I want to hear people's exact thoughts. Let me see. Ooh, it's another good question. Let me answer this before I gotta get out. And can somebody drop the magic word in there? I'm looking at my time. I've been late to everything today, but we'll work on it. How can you have a relationship when you grew up with toxic parents and men? All right, so Mary, thank you for asking this question. So, and this is why it's important to talk about childhood trauma because the things that happened to you as a kid do bring that into adulthood without addressing it, right? So I think this is where therapy is very helpful, right? Now, self-discovery can help you with this too, but therapy can help you because you can start to be more self-aware of the things that you're doing because of the parents that you had, right? And if you go into a relationship and you haven't addressed these issues, right? The moment somebody does something that reminds you of your mom or your dad, you feel triggered and you're like, that doesn't feel good. I don't know why, but that just doesn't feel good, right? And it can impair you. Or, the worst thing is when you have somebody that you were working towards a future with, but because of things that like you were struggling with, or maybe they were struggling with, you feel like it couldn't work, right? Because after the relationship, you're going to have regrets. And the regrets are going to keep you in the past. And as you're looking for somebody else, you're still thinking about the relationship from 2014, right? So I think this involves a lot of difficult work, self-discovery, therapy, but it is possible to have a relationship even with like quote unquote toxic parents and mental and emotional abuse. But in terms of something that you can do right now to help you out, I would start with the affirmations. Every morning, tell yourself, like I'm worthy, I'm loved. Do a little bit of cardio, throw it in there, but like you really have to believe that you are somebody who is worthy of like the minimum. And the minimum is like everybody should be respected, everybody should be loved, everybody should be treated as a human being, right? And that's something that every single person needs, regardless of whatever. Like, I believe that's a human right. All right. Hey, somebody dropped in the magic word. Cheers. And Michelle, I like what Michelle said. Let me give Michelle a quick love of the show. You were not what happened to you. I completely agree. Cheers, cheers. Y'all know what time it is. Cheers. If you're new to the show, go ahead. If you have any water around you or whatever beverage of your choice, but I like water. Go ahead and let's get that water break in. All right. Yeah. Leilani, you're right. I gotta hydrate. Uh, Thank you for your post. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, the questions in here are so dope. Like I'm looking at these questions and I definitely want to we should pick this up. We should probably just do it part 2 tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow. I know that I mentioned that we go live Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yes, we go live Tuesdays and Thursdays for late night shows. So you all can expect that at a minimum. But I miss going live for y'all like every day. I'm not gonna lie. So I will be going live more often. But in terms of being consistent, expect at least a live Tuesday and Thursday night. But I'm gonna be on live tomorrow. I'm just letting y'all know I will be on the live show tomorrow because I feel like it and I like what we're doing here. Joe O'Neill, what's going on? And yeah, it's not counseling. I can't say this is therapy or counseling because legally I would be out of bounds to say that. But we're just vibing here. That's what we're doing. We're just vibing and having a good time. I really do appreciate you all. I do have to dip out now because I'm a little bit late. What else is new? But we will be back on tomorrow and talk more about this. But I appreciate y'all. I love each and every one of you all. Let me know how you all feel in every live stream, every video. Like, let me know the exact truth, and we will take it from there. So once again, you all take care. I love y'all. Have a good night. Guys.